Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show, obviously episode 311. And in this one, we'll be talking about us going to Wembley again, which is absolutely beautiful. And then obviously we'll get into the game tomorrow in the league. Can that give the boys confidence to, try and secure a playoff spot? I mean, I still think it's unlikely, especially if the away form doesn't improve. I wish our games were just based on home form. It'd probably actually be up there, to be quite honest here. But unfortunately, it's not. But, Dad, how have you been? Obviously, it feels like it's been a while, even though it
Yeah,
hasn't.
no, all good, mate. Enjoyed the game in the end. So yeah, all good, mate. Apart from shelling out for the MOT and that. But, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, big up to everyone that's inside, waiting in the chat. There has been a few comments. So big up to everyone that is inside. Daz did say before we go live, he said, I'll jump on later if you're still on. Have a good one. So if you see this, mate, hopefully you did come back on. Jackie says, hi, Ty and Daz. Hello, Jackie. Let's do this again. Hopefully, mate. Absolutely, Ollie, mate. No. So you can't get tickets till Tuesday, but that's only for people that are like diamond holders. It's in stages, but it does not go out to general sale till I think it's like the 7th stage. So it's very unlikely, that then people will be able to get it. So yeah, I'll be able to let you guys know. Hopefully by Tuesday, to be honest, by the time we play Doncaster, I'll be able to let you guys know in regards to that. Jackie says we have paused. It's fine for me. I've got it on my YouTube, so it is fine for me. Do let us know in the chat if it's all right for you guys as well. But right now, it is okay for me. So maybe you've accidentally paused it, possibly, or something. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the game, the Northampton game, now there was confidence going into it. Partly because, in my opinion, they had one eye on trying to stay up, and they obviously still do. And also the fact we're at home, been very good in the knockout stages at home. So we felt it was a good opportunity, to get to Wembley, really. And I do think we had the tougher test in the quarterfinal in Plymouth, and we got through them. Did predict pretty much how the game went, to be fair. I mean, I said 2-1. I said we'll probably get a late on goal, and it was, in the 80th, minute odd. So, I sort of expected that type of game. Maybe not them to take the lead. But in terms of the lineup, so Shea was in goal. Obviously, it's come out. He's going to be in goal for, obviously the final, which he does deserve, and hopefully for our sake, we can, because I like Daz said in his fan cam the other day, is, going to be his last time probably like in this sort of role that he is now as the backup, in my opinion. I have said throughout the season as well, I feel we need a keeper that's going to compete with Keeley going forward. And overall, I love Shea, but I don't think he's going to be that guy, to be honest. So yeah, he was in goal. We actually had a back three, so we had Hakeem, Anderson, and Naismith. I mean, initially looking at that, Naismith is a bit of a worry there, let's be honest. And a large thing I saw, that I was a bit worried about when the lineup come out was the fact there was no Johnson. I've got to be honest. But obviously, it proved to work in the end. Kadoa was sort of as a wing back on the right. Walsh, Van den Berg, and Clark as your midfielders. Lawrence as a left wing back. I thought he had a really good game again. And then it said it was Richards and Wells up front. Now, if that is the case, it's difficult for Richards, so I'm not really going to judge his performance, to be quite honest here. Cole, Johnson, Keeley, Longwick, Morris, Palmer, and Saville. So interesting that Palmer was on the bench again. Obviously, I did say I would start him for this game. I feel Wembley, we have to start him. I said it the other day coming out of that. You've got to start him. I mean, seeing what he done when he come on. We said it in his early glimpses. He's showing he's too good for this level, in our opinion. The problem is with the away games, I don't blame him for that. We were solely relying on him because he was doing well in the previous games. And then you look at the Cardiff second goal, in that away game, for example, there's 3 players on him when we're trying to pass the ball to him. So I'm not really, criticising him for them, type of away performances after them really good spells. But he's come on in the last 2 games in different positions, done really well. But yeah, I mean, that lineup, like I say, bit skeptical, and I did think initially when I saw it, we went with a completely different thing in a 3-4-3. But even the 3-5-2, Dad, I mean, we've obviously changed it in games to 3 at the back, but feels like a while since we've solely started with that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's great. I don't like to see three at the back, really. Um, and yeah, like I'll be packed out of midfield. I think it was either 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 or 1-1 or whatever it was. But yeah, it was interesting. Lawrence obviously deserved to start. Um, Van der Berg, I can see, he's getting his minutes up, using it to get his minutes up. He's still a little bit learning with the team and that. But yeah, overall, a strong bench as well. But yeah, it's just the three at the back was a bit, bit crazy. But obviously, like we felt that we could do that against a team that's made 9 changes themselves, and really struggling, and to be honest, they're quite poor, and they didn't. McGeegan come off the bench, kind of tried to make a difference now, but yeah, then to set pieces is their sort of main thing. I think they scored the most goals in the EFL from set pieces. Basically all of their goals that they have scored. So yeah, I can kind of see it. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, going into that first half, I mean, looking back at it, maybe it wasn't as bad as I said in my reaction, but I just felt it was the same old rubbish. In terms of we have chances, we don't take them, then the team score. That was their first chance, and that wound me up. That really wound me up. I mean, Naismith messing around at the back, just clear the flipping ball. He's taken too many touches. Then he's not even marking properly. Not just him on the goal, but he's obviously part of it. And from there on in, if you're already giving one mistake away, you've got to deal with the thing after. And yes, it was a great cross from Terry Taylor, who we were rumoured to be linked with, obviously, before he went.
yeah, he was probably their best player.
Yeah. Obviously, he was at Charlton. He went to Northampton originally on loan, but now he's gone permanently. Like, he is a good player. But like I say, it was a good cross, but we could have dealt with it better. I mean, Wilshere come out and said that today as well. So it's not like I'm wrong in saying that. But I mean, again, it's from our own mistakes. It's like I say, every time we concede a goal this season, I cannot think of the last time we conceded a goal and it was like a quality goal where you're like, oh, okay, fair play. It's all been from our own doing. And yes, we had chances, and I did say that in the reaction. We did have chances. Obviously, Hakeem had the shot, which weren't too far away. Lawrence, very unlucky with that, volley attempt. But yeah, for me, it was just the fact we started off well, but we didn't take the chances. And there's been such a repeat of that, especially in the away games. And I think that's why I was so disappointed mainly. But looking back at it, it wasn't as bad as it seemed. I've got to be honest, but the frustrations were still there in terms of that same old not taking your chances in both halves, wasn't it, Dad, really?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we'd come out and we was dominant. We was on top. We looked good, as we should do, being a better team. Um, and yeah, like dilly dallying around, isn't it? Like, generally he's good on the ball, etc. But that's where you're getting older and you're not as quick as and things like that, and that's what happened. And he should have just. I mean, the guy had a pass on, so I can kind of see why he sort of fouled him. But sometimes you just got to, other players have got to see that danger and sort of deal with it. And I went, like I said to you, I went in the kitchen, like grabbing something to eat or whatever, and I was standing there, and I was like, yeah, they're going to score from this. And I didn't. I just knew, and then I just heard the cheer, and then obviously come in and checked it. Yeah, and it annoyed me because that then after that, I mean, it's a stupid mistake. You know what I mean? Considering the fact that we've been doing them all season, you're the captain, this, that, and the other. And to be fair, your two performances before that weren't too bad. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, like I get the losing of the ball, but just a stupid foul, right? And then not marking because he looked, he knew he was there, and then he just let him get in front of him. Like it was just, yeah, it's just you're not good enough at this, not at this level. But do you know what I mean?
Definitely not to start consecutively.
Yeah, three at the back as well. Like that probably may not have happened if it's three at the back. he might have been insane. It would have been maybe Johnson dealing with that. So there's that as well. And then it took sort of the sting out of us psychologically. That it weren't like they were on top, but we just sort of bumbled through the rest of the first half a little bit. Obviously, we had moments, like I say, Hakeem had the shot. I think Lawrence looked dangerous. They couldn't keep guard on him, and I think Clark had a miscue as well. Very unlike him, but obviously, Richard's great pass. So the patterns of play were there. Come out early for the second half and totally changed the game early on. With the decisive cut through them, as that's really good to see that we've been doing that. And Lawrence obviously been working hard with the team. Obviously, his young players got a lot of ability. He's not scared to run at players and that and open up his body for a pass or a decisive shot, etc. Nearly scored himself. And yeah, we did. We deserved that equaliser. And it was a great bit of play. And again, like I thought in the last game, and I only saw bits of it and things like that. But when I was watching it, I thought Walsh was doing okay. And then in this game, he was the best player on the pitch, and I haven't seen that since. I can't remember what game it was. It was a while ago. Maybe even been in the Championship last season where he was just the best player on the pitch. And I said a few games ago to you, I don't know if I said it on this show, but we definitely missed him. When he was out injured. And yeah, probably his best game in a Luton shirt. Involved in the goal. Just he's not scared of making that pass through to Clark. Clark, just rolls it across the floor. Wells can't miss. Do you know what I mean? So, slight hint of offside, but it was. I don't think it was.
Nah, there was a picture that come out. Someone screenshotted it. Nowhere near.
I mean, we should have had a penalty. I know you said to me that some of their fans are saying they should have penalty. What for? Like, I swear that was their only shot where they scored. I don't remember them getting into the box after that. But yeah, there was a blatant handball by one of their players that was totally missed. Before we obviously got the winning goal. And they all come out in the second half and they were playing, they were confident, and they were just running rings around them, and there was nothing they could do. And for so many people saying they look divisions apart, well, that's how it should be. And then obviously, like I say, Palmer come on and was just on smoke. Was just like trying to create it on the ball, just getting it glued to his feet, putting it in the box, trying to cause loads of problems. And then the corner routine that we've been done so many times by ourselves, we actually get something out of it. It was a slight deflection, but if you don't shoot, you don't score. A commentator saying that the keeper probably would have saved that. I don't. That's not guaranteed at all.
It had a lot of power.
Get a punch on it, but exactly. But because normally from the goal kicks, Tim Potchard hate it. You'll shit.
I'll be honest, we were doing it at points.
I just don't see the point of it. It doesn't put keepers off. It doesn't.
No, the funniest thing that happens, they slip and you go, "Woo!" That's it.
Yeah, which is what 1 in 1,000 or something. But and then they started to do it at the corner when Naismith was taking it, giving him a jeering, and yeah, they all took a there and fucking shut the fuck up after that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, first goal. Like I say, we've been done so many times with that, so it was nice to see. And I thought we might have done it again because on the other side, Lawrence was kind of lurking on the area. I think Walsh was taking it from the other side. But yeah, I thought it deserved that and probably maybe could have got a couple more. Nolan's come out afterwards and was obviously he's a little bit disappointed, but we dominated them. 42 touches in their box, 20 shots, 7 I think on target. And he was like, well, our keeper didn't have to make any great saves.
Yeah, because he was on the fucking floor half the time.
and your defense was yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you, if you lose 3-0 and your keeper don't make any great saves, but yeah, listen, fair play to him. He was an excellent player. But he's at a club with no money. Do you know what I mean? Um, and struggle now. So I think that could break their season a little bit. But with us, it gave us what we, something to look forward to. And I've seen people on sites and that saying that's just papering over the cracks. Um, yeah, it is. But at the very least, we should be. This is a competition that we should be getting to the final in anyway, in my opinion. Um, and it's not going to be easy. Not at all. Stockport, a decent side. Yes, we've beat them. We've got them a few games before that at home.
Yeah, that's going to be a
Well,
test.
but if we can beat them at home like we did away, then that gives you a psychological edge going into that final. I don't care if you've lost them twice, it does, especially if you can get an early goal. But we'll see how it pans out. It might GG our season up now, give them players just that belief. You can see they've got it more and more, but overall the season, it normally pans out that you probably won't, get into the playoffs or whatever. But it gives something to look forward to. You're not so tentative again for the next game. Obviously, we'll get into that, but yeah, I thought we deserved to do it. And it's good to see and carrying on that kind of strong, unbeaten home form.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, the second half, I'll be honest. I mean, obviously, we spoke at our time, Dad, and I was saying I think we need to take two players off in particular.
And we didn't, yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't. And they come out, they done well. Obviously, whatever the staff said definitely worked. And like I say, the urgency was there. We took our chances. And what I noticed is we told Clark to drop deeper a lot, a lot more deeper and receive the ball. And then he was out on the left a lot, obviously, the goal, playing the ball across. I know as soon as he played that across, we're going to score. And it's great to see Wells in the box. I mean, he was against Port Vale as well. And there's been so many times throughout the season we haven't had someone in the box, or if they are in the box, they'd find a way to fluff it up. But fair play to him. Like I've said, he's done really well since the since Burton game for me. And fair play to Clark, obviously done well to play the ball across. And then from there on in, I'm thinking, please, boys, let's try and get another one. I do not want penalties. Because I knew it would have been, probably in front of their fans. Obviously our last penalty shootout was obviously the Fleetwood game, and the penalties weren't great. So thankfully we did get that goal. Shaden Morris come on. I thought he was really, really good again. Direct, it's so good for me. Palmer, like I say, showing different levels. And then Cole, I thought Cole gave him a bit of havoc, not in terms of chances, but just his movement.
His physical presence as well.
Yeah. And obviously, at that period, we went two up front as well, which I feel helped. And there was a moment where, me personally, I think Palmer should have shot, but I don't blame him for passing it to Cole. But I think if he went for the shot, that could have been 3-1, and that would have been the game, in my opinion. But yeah, the goal, like I say, Naismith, he did redeem himself in that second half. And like I've said, he has had good performances recently. It's just that obviously the Burton drama let him down, but he did well there. He did well. And Walsh, fair play taking on the shot first time, because there's so many times we get into good areas, and this is more so not from set pieces. This is more so on the break. I mean, Port Vale second half, we've done it a few times, and we're taking too many touches. So it's great to eventually, just bang it in. And fair play to Walsh. First goal, like I said in the fan cams, what a week he's had. So he's come out, he's going to have a child as well. So he's probably absolutely over the moon right now. And he did deserve that, because there has been so many times he has got close to scoring. And like you say, Dad, a lot of it was towards the back end of the championship. I remember he was absolutely brilliant last season towards the back end, after all the red cards and all that. And fair play, he is one of them players that does bring that really good element of passing and breaking the lines. And this time he tried to break the net, which was great to see. So, it was absolute carnage at Kenilworth Road when that went in. It was absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, and then the full-time limbs as well, Chris Powell. That was quality as well. So, yeah, what a night, man! What a night! And yeah, we go to Wembley again. hopefully we can continue our fairly decent record there. Like you say, Dad, it's not going to be easy at all. And like I've said, I think I said it on every fan cam I've done the other night. Not give Ollie Norwood a free kick. I mean, seeing what he done the other day against Doncaster, probably should have scored the other one as well, even though it was a good save. So, and he weren't playing last time out as well. So, for them, they'll be looking at him to try and, cause something. But like you say, Dad, we have got them before, so that'll be a little test for both sides to see what's to come and things like that. But yeah, hopefully we can get that over the line and make the season a bit better than I think it could be, to be honest. So yeah, that's that really in terms of that. Let's go through some comments because there is a lot of comments. This is pretty cool. Matt says, it's my birthday on the 12th of April. So by law, your team always wins on your birthday. I mean, mine did, surprisingly. Yeah, well, I say mine.
Against Northampton.
Yeah, against
Northampton. Also, we've got Northampton up after.
Literally after, yeah. Yeah.
We need to be winning because if we don't, you know what they're going to be like.
And
as well, again.
Fucked it up, yeah. Virtue trophy, you fucked it up, something like that. Evening, lads. Good evening, Paul, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, that is massive, by the way. That is massive. Obviously, he did score in the game. I did have a look at that. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be out for the season for them as well. He's not the top scorer anymore. It's actually the Stockport striker, by the way. So we've got to watch out for him as well because he's actually a top scorer in the whole league. Yeah. He's overtook Marriott and there was someone else joint second.
Who is it though?
That Wootton or whatever his name is. Yeah, him. Yeah. He's now a top scorer in the league. I think he's got 17 goals, I want to say. So, yeah. Literally, mate. Literally. But yeah, in terms of the player ratings, so let's get into him. So, Shea, I mean, couldn't have done anything on the goal. Probably didn't have to do as much as the Plymouth game, in terms of that. But it's going to be great if we can get it over the line in the final, especially for him. And that'll be a great moment. Obviously, he was involved in the playoffs in terms of the squad, but obviously not in goal, obviously. So, yeah, I think I'll just give it a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. As you said, didn't have a lot to do. But you can see the difference. Like the ball with his feet is, if he's got a bit of time, it's fine. But he's not obviously as good as Keeley because he's an old school kind of keeper. They weren't playing that way. And yeah, didn't have a lot to do. Sometimes you want him to have a little bit to do to get him up. Obviously, he'll be training more intensely and stuff. I'm saying doesn't anyway, but because it's a massive game. But yeah, 6.5. And sometimes when he was kicking it weren't kicking it out of play, but it was like a lower, and it was 50-50 sometimes, whether it go to our player or their player, that kind of thing. But that's just natural, isn't it? But generally, yeah, it was okay, obviously. So yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, I agree. 7 says Jackie. Paul was gone with the same. Didn't watch the game, but I'm glad we won it. Yeah, exactly, mate. Got it over the line. Bet you're thinking even though they didn't watch it at 1-0, you probably think, oh god, what's going on here? But yeah, in terms of the next player, we'll go to Hakeem. Now, I'll be honest, the first half, I mean, maybe it's just because I was there, I saw it in the flesh. Like, obviously, it's his first game in a while. I did think there was rusty signs in that first half, but the second half, I mean, he was unbelievable in the second half. Just the way he was getting out of the ball, doing stuff. I mean, he was making forward runs in the first half, but I think what let me down in the first half from him is there was a moment where I think he tried playing the ball forward and he sort of like their player just got it too easily and then they went forward. It was like towards the end of the half. But like I say, second half, I mean, he looked like he was never out of place, So, yeah, second half was really good and that gets his rating up to a 7 for me.
I'll give him a 7 as well. I thought he was decent, back three. I don't really want to see that back three again, to be honest. I think it's too risky. And if a couple of players ain't on it, then it could be problems. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, when he's clearing, he's strong on the ball. We can see why we've signed him. He's versatile. He works extremely hard, and with his clearances, when he's under pressure and that, he always managed to keep it in, and almost like find a Luton player every time. So he could be quite pivotal towards the end of the season, I'm thinking. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's hard because I've done my lineup. Where can you put him in? But he's still easing into the season. Let's not forget that, like I said. So he can't be like, he's got to be rested and looked after a little bit still, because he's decent and he's the kind of player that if we do get into the playoffs, that you definitely need. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, no, 100%. Obviously, Rotherham fans are raving very highly about him. And I do think in terms of when he is like, fully fit and ready to go, I think he is the one I would put him right back for now, until the rest of the season. Even though Jones has done well there, Longwick's obviously had his moments, but he has done okay there. I would still look at Hakeem to be that one, because it's more of like his second sort of position, isn't it, really, in comparison to the others. Obviously, it's not really. There's other positions for them. So, yeah, that's how I see it. Jackie says Hakeem 8 like him. Yeah, I do like him. Obviously, I got pictures of players at Northampton, had a good laugh with him as well. So he's actually a nice guy as well. Hakeem 8. Anderson, Jackie's jumped to Anderson. He did well. Yeah, do you know what? Anderson, very close man of the match for me. I thought he was really, really good in this game. And they're the good moments he brings. I say it all the time. The aerial presence, it's just them moments that let him down, like the Huddersfield away game. But this game, I mean, everything he touched, he just dealt with. He really, really dealt with. And yeah, he was really, really good for me. So do you know what? He gets a very high rating from me. He actually gets a 9.
Yeah, I'll get. Do you know what? I was, yeah, because obviously I know what I'm giving my man a match and all that, and I know what I'm giving them. So yeah, I agree. Every single header, every time, and it weren't just the ones that he was moving in, you know, anticipating the different types of headers or the kick up there. You know what I mean? He weren't just waiting for it to come to his position. He was just going in front of other players, midfielders and that, and dealing with it. It was so good, yeah. It really, really was. Really, really stood out. Didn't have, and when he was on the ball, when he was passing it around. Listen, we're used to chasing after players under other managers, Jones. You know what I mean? When we was in the Premier League, etc., and playing that way. We are trying to play it with new identity. Yeah, it can be frustrating at times, but you can see when the team's clicking, and when you've got the right players at the club and things like that, that it will be beneficial. And we've seen it a few times. You've got to be patient sometimes against certain teams, and it will work. Obviously, I think the bigger teams, you've got to go a bit, switch it up because they'll know what you're expecting, kind of thing. But in this instance, he's getting better at that. He probably wasn't known as a ball player before when he was at Barnsley, and that probably similar to what he's doing for us, just a rock at the back and things like that. But yeah, he's probably got to be the best. I don't think we've had anyone like that with winning the headers since like Bradley, and particularly and Pearson as well. He played like both of them in this game. So yeah, I'll give him a 9.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was really, really solid. And when he brings that element, just doing that.
And don't forget, he was 50-50 as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing part of a back three, which I don't think he probably has for us, but who's
when he has played there, it's been straight
previously. Defender in not in age, but in the form and appearances and stuff this season. Do you know what I mean? So he had to step up and be that man, and he was, and he obviously massive, really well. I think did Barnsley get into the final when he left?
Yeah. So he was there, but he was injured, so he was a big miss.
So he's really going to want it. He massively want to win at Wembley. You can see that. It's probably a boyhood dream of his, as it is a lot of players. But when the players from a different country and that, you know what I mean, like it's even more so for them. Because for us, it's been, we've been there for quite a few times, to be honest. But yeah, great performance, 9.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Anderson 7.5 says Paul. Everyone putting 100%, 10% effort. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you love looking at these games where like there's so many players to pick from. Like in recent years, there's been so many games where you only think of like one or two. this game you could give it to quite a few players, to be fair.
But there's still a couple that weren't too great. Right?
No, exactly, and we'll get into that. But yeah, Naismith. I mean, yeah, first half obviously not great. Like I've said, I was thinking maybe taking him off at half time, which would have meant a change in formation for me personally. But he obviously was a major part to play in the goal. The second goal anyway. The corner, I mean, there was a corner. I don't know why our deliveries, man. Sometimes they're so poor. But there was one where their player cleared it, so it was a really poor cross. They didn't even think it got to the front post. And they cleared it and he booted their fan in the face, which was mad. And we got a corner from that. And I was like, how have we got a corner from that? But the decisive moment, he stepped up. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be, a player that plays continuously throughout the season, but there will be games he will come in and come out. I think that's how it's going to be with him. But yeah, overall, see, I'll just give him a 7 because that first half
same, yeah. Well, the fair wasn't fair. It was just that mistake really that led to go, and you got to knock off stuff for that. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, he did improve. He got a yellow card as well for that, so I had to carry on the rest of the game in the back three. Well, I think we did go to a back four later on, but and obviously got the assist. So and didn't. I don't think he made a mistake after. He nearly got caught again doing a similar thing, but it kind of worked out this time. But yeah, if you're in a back three, no, don't do that, man, please. But 7.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Paul's gone with the same. Jackie's gone with a 4. Fair enough. And then moving on to Kadoa. Yeah, I've got to be honest. He is struggling. I don't know if it's because we have too much expectation on him because he's our top scorer.
I think we've overplayed him. Well, not overplayed him. I think he's played a lot of games. And
don't get me wrong, there was good moments where we were going forward with him and he was doing well in terms of that. But being as effective as maybe earlier on in the season, we're just not quite seeing that. But again, like you say, Dad, maybe he needs a rest. I mean, we've got the players to, be able to put him on the bench for. So yeah, I mean, Kadoa, I'll just go 6.5 because there was some good moments.
From him. Just like I say, just
I sound like Wilshere.
A little bit out of form at the moment. Not because he's missing shots like Ali used to do a lot, And I think he was inconsistent in his previous game. Ali apparently, and that's what we saw from him. It's patchy, and Kadoa's still very young, still an important player. Since he signed that contract, really, isn't it? But it's just a little bit of dip in form. Maybe just give him a little. I mean, I'd probably still start him, but I guess as well, we're not relying on him. Like you say, we're not passing it to him all the time, things like that. And there's other players that we miss. I don't know if doubt he'll be back for the final, to be honest, because it's a month away or something. Bramall, do you know what I mean? Because free kick. Wembley, that'd be brilliant. But yeah, I'll give him a 6.5. But he'll still pop up. He's got that quality, isn't he?
Oh yeah, no, he certainly has. And I said it as well. As much as he's probably he's not on the greatest form at the moment. You've got others stepping up and scoring. Wells is starting to score now, so it's not like the end of the world. It's not like the start of the season where it's only him and Clark really, and obviously Bramall with the free kicks and Morris. That's probably it. Whereas now it is mixing up a bit. So that is a positive. But yeah, like I say, there was moments where we were breaking in the second half and he was doing all right. But overall, in terms of as much involvement as we've seen before, there probably was a lack of that. But again, it seemed like he was sort of a right wing back. And I know he played there earlier on in the season and he was decent there. The Wigan game in particular, the home game that we won. But obviously it's been a while. But yeah, I just think he needs a rest personally. But yeah, Kadoa 7, as says Jackie, and so does Paul as well. Moving on to Walsh, we'll go over to Walsh. I think he's man of the match for most people in the chat. I know he's definitely yours, Dad, and yeah, he was really good, deserved the goal, and that's his second game back. And he looked like he was been playing regularly. So glad he got off the mark. Like I said in all the fan cams, what a week he's had. Find out he's going to have a child as well. So, yeah, fair play to him. So, yeah, for me, he gets a 10. And I know you're giving him a 10 as well, Dad.
Yeah. We discussed it already. even before the goal, he was a clear man of the match. His passing, his threading through, and not just that, he was tackling, he was fighting, chasing balls down, closing them down, stopping them from doing absolutely anything all over the pitch, and got his first goal that sends us to Wembley. I mean, you got to give it that high as well for me. And he's had his critics in the past as well. This all builds into that. The sending off and things like that. But really, he's probably the most technical midfield, other than maybe Clark, obviously, but he's probably the closest thing to Ross Barkley we've got at the club. And yeah, really, really good. I can't, give him lower than that. So yeah, 10.
Yeah. Just to let you know, Dad, I don't know what it is, but your camera's sort of flickering at the bottom
I can
a little
see
bit.
it. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's finging out because.
Yeah, maybe try to turn it off, turn it back on, maybe. See if that works. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Walsh was excellent.
I don't even know how you do that. So.
He was excellent. So yeah, I agree. With that, and believe it or not, Dad, well, we obviously spoke about it the other day. That's his first time he's got man of the match from both of us this season, or any of us. Any of us too, believe it or not. Obviously he's been out of parts, but nowhere near as long as other players, and they've probably got more. But now he's got 2, so let's see where he ends up at the end of the season. Big up to Jack. He says we'll win at Wembley and bring the cup home where it belongs. Well, I hope you're right, mate. I really hope you're right. A lot I've said since the start, since the Barnet game. It's not doing it now, your camera, so that's good. It's relived that moment.
I think it's just if I move closer or something.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never had that on mine. 9.5. Yeah, fair enough, Paul. 9, he is excellent man of the match. Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to the next player, who do we go over to next? We'll go over to Van den Berg. I was saying at half time, take him and Naismith off. But second half, Van den Berg was better, similar to the Plymouth game for me. I will give him a 6.5 still, though.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6.5. He's definitely getting used to the pace of English football. He's obviously got, he's a bit casual when he's passing it around sometimes. Now he's got to be quicker, but you can see he's got a player there. He's very physical. And yeah, I think he'll do all right for us. Especially if we're still down there and we keep hold of him, which obviously I think we will do. Yeah, just a 6.5.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Danny 4, says Jackie. Now, I'll be honest, I was disappointed with him in the first half. I know he's adapted and that, but it's just the passes for me. It was a bit off. And I'll be honest, as much as he isn't, new to English football now, I do have quite a high expectation on him because he has played in Europa League. In comparison to League One, he should be doing well. But I expect him to do well as the time goes on.
Similar to Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, moving on to Clark. I thought, that shot maybe he could have done a bit better, but second half he was really, really good. Really, really good for me. And obviously, got us back into the game with a pass. And yeah, like me and Mike said, after the game, hopefully he can have a Wembley moment again for us because he thoroughly deserves it. And who knows, guys, it could be, maybe the last season for him. Let's be honest, if we stay in League One, I think. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah, anyway, for that rating, I'll give him a 7.5. I was going to go higher, but I'll give him 7.5.
I'll give him a 7.5. He got unlucky with the yellow card. It went really, it's a bit. He got the ball, but it is what it is. But
and we look at that and we go, "Oh, it's fine. You can have your yellow there, Clark."
Yeah. But obviously, he got this. See the assist, works really hard. But he's played a hell of a lot of football this season. And still, you can't expect 10 out of 10 from him. But it's decent. 7.5.
Yeah, absolutely. Clark 8, says Jackie. Fair enough. I was going to give him that. Van der Berg 7, says Paul. Interesting. Fair enough. And then moving on to Lawrence, I thought the first half is one of our best players, if I'm going to be honest. That volley, very unlucky.
Yeah.
I mean, if that went in, what a goal that would have been. And I said it in the Port Vale game, I thought he was one of our better players. And, maybe, You know, obviously it's a while away, but maybe you do start him in the final. You know, if we still have issues on that left hand side, you know, in terms of other than him, you know, let's go for it because a wide pitch, it's like Mike said the other day, the wide pitch could benefit him, you know, because he's very good at getting on the ball, making them runs, cutting in, you know, things
It'll
like that.
definitely benefit us more than Stockport.
Yeah,
Stockport,
yeah. And
they've got
that's what
good
we were saying the
technical
other night.
players.
Yeah.
You know, they're similar to us in ways. Just they're higher in the league now, but you know, they were up there last season. You know, they're used to this league. They got a head start. You know what I mean? And they've got a couple of signed some astute players and things like that. But I feel like our wingers are definitely better than theirs,
Yeah.
and we've got the players that can thrive on a Wembley pitch. That Morris, Kodjia, Lawrence,
Even Palmer.
Jones. Yeah, exactly. Like so that will benefit us. But yeah. But listen, yeah, the last two games, you know, been against poor opposition, but he has done well. He was tracking back a little as well, but you know, defense ain't his game. But yeah, they just couldn't. They didn't. They were backing away from him, and that shot it did took a slight deflection, but it's so powerful that would have been a good goal. And it obviously involved in the goal as well, as he was last week, I think, as well with Johnson linking up with Johnson. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah. No. I agree. I agree with that. Lawrence 8, I thought he did really well. Yeah, exactly. Clark 8, says Paul. So yeah, I'll see him get asked that question. I'll see him get asked that earlier. Of course, Sky were in. As soon as we get to a final at Wembley, of course they're all in because it's Wilshere and all that. But yeah, I mean, going on to Richards, I'll say it's difficult to judge him because I don't really know where he was playing. If I'm going to be honest, he obviously said he's playing up front, but I don't know. I mean, he did do that pass into Clark. You know, maybe Clark should have done a bit better from that in the first half. But yeah, I think it's difficult for Richards when he's not playing like next to, say, for example, Clark, you know, in that midfield. He sort of does struggle a bit. And you can tell that's his favourite position. I mean, he said it, you know, in the Plymouth game. So I will give him a 6.5.
Yeah, same. You know, it wasn't. It was just maybe it's too congested there, and other people were doing. You know, he didn't get on the ball, he didn't as much, and if he was playing up front, I think he would maybe was like meant to be behind Wells possibly, but you know, he's still young as well. Don't forget, he's only 18. Um, so you know, we need to look after him as well, and he'll probably be rested. We've got a lot of options now, man. It's crazy. I mean, I've done my lineup, and then there's players I'm thinking, yeah, but they could play, they could play, they could play. You know, Elijah potentially be back on the bench. I don't think Al Hamadi's fit. Who else? Is someone I can't remember. Is not fit enough. I can't remember. His obviously Mengi's out, but Jones is back. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give him a 6.5, and then Wells, I'll give Wells a 7.5. He got a yellow card. Yeah, it was a thingy, but you know, got the goal. Just looking more and more confident, more and more lively, involved in quite a few moments, and you know, we've got to look after him, but at the same time, you know,
He's the only striker scoring.
yeah. So for me, you've got to start him and then start bringing you know, Cole off the bench. Al Hamadi been injured again, you know. So yeah, we got to start, but I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. I agree with Wells 7. Yeah, it was definitely a yellow card. I mean, Jamie around me was like, "What?" I was like, "No, it definitely is. It definitely is." So yeah, it's one of them. But yeah, yeah. Wilshere did say on him, like he spoke to one of the, I think it was one of the staff. I can't remember the name exactly. Wells and like said, like, what can he do to get better, sort of thing. You know, and you've noticed it in the games, like where he's like say the last two goals he's been in the box. I mean, so many stages earlier on in the season, there was no one in the box. It weren't just him. It was when we
Yeah,
had
the way we were playing though, that's the thing. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, that didn't help. Yeah, that didn't help. But you can tell, like, it, and that's good to see because, like, he's obviously one of the more experienced ones, you know, and he's still, you know, looking to get that, you know, improvement basically. So that's good to see as well. And yeah, hopefully he can continue. I mean, he's got 7 goals. I mean, that's not bad, is it? Really, given how he's
Kind
been.
of what we'd expect him to get.
Yeah,
If
probably
he
more come the
remained
end of the
striker.
season.
We expect him to get more now, like initially, because he's played so many games.
But 7 with how we feel he's been throughout the season is
yeah.
decent.
I mean,
It's pretty decent.
yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the subs, Morris, I thought he's really good. You know what? I'm going to give Morris 7.5. He's just so direct. He's just so
I'll give
good.
him a 7. I think he's really enjoying it at the moment, and he doesn't mind. He's seeing a lot more football. And again, he's another one who could be starting, but I'm happy to have strong players, like effective players like that on the bench as well. So, but yeah, I'll give him a 7. Palmer, mate,
7.5 as well for me.
7.5. Could have got more if he'd have scored possibly. He was just dominating, running, just playing like a madman. Do you know what I mean? Just getting on the ball, trying to make things happen. So good, and probably deserves to start the next game, I would say. But then you got Saville, like he's basically stood in for kind of Walsh a little bit, I guess.
I would start Saville on Tuesday personally.
Maybe, maybe, because we've got a quick turnaround. So yeah.
And the away games are suited better for him, in my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it's 7.5, mate. Really, really, really good.
Yeah. And then Cole and Longwell, I'll probably just give them both a 6.
Yeah. Just sure. A bit too late, and we weren't backing away. We were still trying to get a goal, but yeah, well, especially in Longwell, come on. But he's accepted that. Like he's been playing a lot on that right, but now we're changing things up. But with Mendy out, I'd be happy to start him ahead of Naismith in the centre of defence or in a 4. None of this free stuff for me. But yeah, 6.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, like I say, Cole's movement was good. Like he was, making them come out wide with him at periods. Like I noticed he was going on that right hand side quite a lot of the Kenilworth Road, pitch. And yeah, his movement was good. But yeah, Longwick's just want to see it out, really, isn't it? And that's how it was. And yeah, we could have got more. Like I say, I think if Palmer went for a shot instead of playing it to Cole and Clark, don't forget that Clark shot, that was unlucky as well. Near the end, that would have been a great goal, to be fair. So yeah, we could have made it 3-1, but overall, cup football, all that matters is you win. You win the game, and especially for us with how our season's been overall, it's great to be going to Wembley, and also, fair play to Northampton getting as far as they did, but also that, should have benefited us in terms of having that experience before, with the players, and it did. Obviously Clark and Shay I'm referring to more so because they've obviously been at the club longer and that, but still it worked. So yeah, fair play to the boys. The performance was there. Like I say, maybe the first half weren't as bad as I said in my reaction. Obviously, coming out straight after the ground, the emotions are high. But, we had the chances and we took them in the second half and everyone stepped up, like even more for me. Obviously, bar like a few players, but for example, I thought Naismith was better and things like that. So, Wembley it is. So, thankfully, this picture image of AI is not made for nothing. And yeah, there we will be going again. Hopefully, we can get the win, but yeah, it's not going to be an easy game, like we've said. Stockport are, a good side, but it will be interesting because both of us are quite poor away. I don't think they're as poor as we are away, but I look at their recent results. So it's basically an away game for both of us. Anyway, so that could be interesting as well. So hopefully it goes in our favour, but obviously we'll talk about that nearer the time. And it is on a Sunday, that game, so that'll be interesting and things like that. So hopefully, we wait until the weekend is nearly done and it don't get ruined. So yeah, that's that in terms of that. Other ratings we'll go through them quickly. Jackie says Richard 7. Paul has gone 7 as well. Wells, he is settling in. He did well. Yep, I agree. Richard 6 says Paul. Wells 7.5. Morris 8. Yeah, he's really, really good. Palmer 8. Morris 7.5. And then a Palmer 8. I'd agree in the home games. I do feel the away games he could be all right. If he's not next to Walsh, like change it up. Like him and Walsh, they're similar players. It doesn't work. But like the away games in terms of, maybe try Palmer and Saville. against Doncaster. Maybe, but let's see, innit? Let's see how tomorrow goes, because you never know, might get some flipping injuries, probably. Anyway, moving on to the game tomorrow. So we take on Reading, and Reading, they're doing well. You've got to give them credit where it's due. Obviously, they started the season very, very poorly. Obviously, they did beat us not too long ago. I think it was just before Christmas, wasn't it? If I remember rightly. Obviously, we played all right in the game, but again, it was similar to like games like Plymouth at home, where we lost 3-2 in terms of individual mistakes. And it was very frustrating, that we didn't, obviously get something out of that game, because we come back in that game as well. That recent game against Reading. They obviously went 2-0 up. We made it 2-2. Jordan Clark in a position where at that period, the strikers should have been in. And they obviously weren't in that position, but Clark was. Longwick scored a really, really good goal that night. And then very shortly after, we conceded a goal, in my opinion, that we shouldn't really concede. I mean, Bramall has obviously been good for us, and he is a bit of a miss at the moment. But it's a bit of a half-hearted header, and then they score, jump up, and then they obviously scored a goal. Yeah, it's too easy for them to get in, and we done all the hard work, putting ourselves 2-0 down, then coming back just to then go 3-2 down again, and end up losing the game. And yeah, Marriott being out is a big miss, but they still have got players that we have got to watch out for. Obviously, the striker, I'm not going to pronounce his name, the one that played against us, and obviously scored that goal. We've got to watch out for him. He's gonna definitely, try and cause havoc again. And then obviously, they've got Wing, they've got Kamari Doyle, who we were linked with in the January, maybe, or the summer. I can't remember exactly. Obviously, youngster through Brighton. I think he's on loan there. He's a player we've got to watch out for. Obviously, Wing. They have still got players. And like I say, they are doing well. They are doing well. Their last game, they beat Bradford 2-1. I know Bradford are poor away. Despite where they are in the league, they are very poor away. But still a good win, no Marriott, and they won that game. But we have got to try and dish out a bit of revenge, in this game, obviously after that last game. And if we can win this game, it would be nice, because there would obviously be a bit closer. We would be a bit closer, shall I say. We'd be on 50 points. Obviously, Reading would still be above us. But then you're only 3 points off the playoffs, depending on other results. I think the playoffs is done, personally. But, if we can end the season on a high and try and get a bit of positivity, and hopefully the boys are, obviously, there's a lot of confidence from Wednesday, that could come into favour. And we are good at home. Like I said, I wish all our games were flipping based on home, because we'd actually, be right up there. So that is a shame that it's not. But yeah, it's one of them where I don't think we'll lose this game. The fact we're at home, I don't think we'll lose this game. If we was away, then obviously I think the same struggles would continue. But we're at that stage where there's loads of games coming thick and fast. Obviously, we do take on, Reading tomorrow, Doncaster away on Tuesday, which is not going to be an easy game. And they're going to be, furious after they got knocked out of the EFL trophy. Yes, they, rotated their squad. Obviously, brought on key players in the second half. But you've seen what they've done to teams at home, so that ain't going to be easy. And then we play Wickham, who are actually doing really well, especially at home. They did win their last game, I believe, away at Barnsley. I know Barnsley are very hit and miss, but then again, they absolutely battered us. So, yeah, these games are difficult games. And we're playing two teams that are in the playoff conversation, and then a team that are trying to stay up. So, especially against them two teams in the playoffs, you've got to, or fighting in the playoffs, shall I say, you've got to, trying to be getting results over them. Because if you don't do that, then the same frustrations are going to continue. And yeah, everyone's just going to be more glued, even though most people are, more glued to that Wembley final, to be honest. So, yeah, it's one of them where it's very, very frustrating, times at the moment in terms of the league, especially the away form. But yeah, Simon says, I have bad memories of this final from last year at Wembley. I hope you win. Yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully we can. Big up to Port Vale Life. Big up, mate. It says, hi, Tyler. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yep, I'm all right, mate. Hope you're well. A Luton Town fan is very confident. He says we'll win. Phil says, all right, lads, I'm a bit late. No worries at all, mate. Good to see you in here now. But yeah, I mean, I'd say I am confident because we're at home. You know, after Wednesday, there'll be a bit of confidence as well. And obviously, they have got Marriott out. So that is a bonus. But like I say, they have got other players we've got to watch out for. But it does give me more confidence, like I say. So, yeah, I mean, my dad is having some issues with the camera, unfortunately.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
I don't know. It won't come back on. So
yeah, that's all right. But yeah, like, how are you feeling about this game? Obviously, they've got Marriott out, you know, but they've still got players we've got to watch out for. But we are at home, and there will be confidence after Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we are at home. There should be. We just don't want that after Lord Mayor's show kind of thing, where you know you have that performance and then you just you know don't replicate that. It's going to be tough, but I think we've got quite a good record against them at home. We're quite unbeaten in the last 5 or something. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we would definitely be getting something out of this. Initially, I would have felt a draw, but Marriott's out. I think he's their main focal point, etc., and they've got to deal with that without him. So I think, yeah, I think we're going to beat them.
Nice. Like the confidence. Obviously, we'll do our lineups like we do. So we have gone different lineups for this episode. So yeah, obviously for me, Keeley in goal. I've gone with a 4-2-3-1 for this game. Obviously, it does sound like Jones is going to be back. So maybe we could, you know, go with that 3 and then put Lawrence on the left, wing back, Jones on the right. But I'm just basing it on the fact, like, obviously he's ill. You know, so Wilshere says he sounds like he is going to be back. So he probably will be. But you never know. Sometimes, like we say, certain players might be in contention or available and then they're not. So I'm basing it on that. So I've gone Longwick right back. I actually thought he had an all right game against Reading last time, to be fair. Obviously scored that very good goal. And yeah, obviously he didn't start the other night. So that's why I'm thinking that. Hakeem centre back. So yeah, I would go with that. Anderson, you got to keep him in after the other day. And then I've gone Johnson, put Johnson back in, similar to Longwick, been rested. You know, so I'd go with that. And I would put Naismith to the bench for this game. Walsh and Palmer in that more, you know, the 2 holding. But, you know, let Palmer do the more attacking duties personally. You know, Walsh obviously pick out them passes, but yeah, that's what I do. I have said I want to see that given a go. And I feel we can afford to do that in their home game, especially with how Walsh was last game and how Palmer is when he can come on. There is that confidence that them two could work on that basis. So that's why I've gone with that. I've kept Lawrence in, as you guys can see, you know, because how good he's been, and also the fact we don't have anyone else. And also, what I will say on the back 3, I feel it could be a positive, if we had Bramall, because you could put Bramall as the left wing back and then Jones on the right. So I think that could work if we had Bramall, but obviously we don't. And then Morris on the right. You know, I would drop Kadoa for this game. Not say, well, not drop, but I would rest him for this game, shall I say. I think that's a better way of putting it, because it's not like he's been poor. And then Clark through the middle, captain, obviously, if that is the starting 11. And then Wells up front. And again, goes back to what me and my dad have just said. You know, he's the one scoring the goals. I would obviously take him off around about the 60th minute and bring on Cole, probably. You know, so yeah, that's what I would do for this game. So yeah, before we get into yours, Dad, would you make of that?
Yeah, it's the same formation. Obviously, I've gone with a couple of changes. I think Hakeem probably might not start this game. I can see Longwick possibly staying at right back, but yeah.
Yeah, like I say, especially Johnson and, you know, Longwick in particular. I put them because they were obviously on the bench the other night. So I thought, maybe do that. But yeah, in terms of yours, Dad, there you go. There's yours.
Yeah, obviously can't find Lawrence on the database, so I had to make one up. Yeah. So yeah, my back four. I'm bringing Johnson back in. Naismith, yeah, but I don't think. I think Longwick's a better defender. We're playing a better team as well. Anderson obviously stick with Jones. If he's back, starting there again, especially at home. Walsh probably should start. Do you know what I mean? Unless we do rest him, but after that performance, obviously you want to start him. Clark has to start in front. Kadu, I'd still give him another chance. Obviously not chance like that, but like I'd start him on the right. And then Lawrence probably should give him another go. We've got options, and then Wells really because no one else seems to be really. Obviously we've got Cole, but Wells has been, like I say, been banged in the goal. So yeah, I think we've got to go with Wells again, at least for 60 minutes.
Yeah. Like I say with Wells, this one of them because he's getting the goals, and it's like I've said with Cole and obviously El Hamidi sounds like he's injured, but until they score, I wouldn't be putting them in the lineup. And I said that even when Wells weren't scoring. So I sort of stand by that in terms of starting. So yeah, that's that in terms of that. But yeah, in terms of score prediction, do get yours in the chat for this game. How are you feeling for this game? Are you feeling we can win? I'm feeling it's one where we, won't lose personally. But Dad, your score prediction for this game? You sound more confident with Marriott being out.
Yeah, well, initially I was going to go for like a 1-1 draw, but now I think we can get a result, and a famous result that we normally seem to get against Reading is a 1-0. So I'm going to go for a 1-0, and I will go for Lawrence to get his first goal.
Nice. Yeah, like I say, for me, it's a game that I don't think we'll lose because we are at home. But Reading, they are on good form, even without Marriott winning in their last game, against Bradford, despite Bradford being pretty poor away, it's one of them. So for me, I don't think we'll lose the game. So there is a bit of positivity, after Wednesday night as well. I'm going to say a draw, though. I'm going to say 1-1. I was thinking maybe edging us, in the 2-1 victory because I do think both teams will score. But I will say 1-1. But we've got tough games coming up. I mean, after this, we've got Doncaster away. That is going to be a difficult game. A team that are fighting down there, got some good results at home this season. And then we go on to Wickham away. And I mean, Wickham, they're on good form as well. So, if you want to be a team that's in the playoffs, you have to beat Reading and Wickham. You've got to try and do that. Especially them being teams around us in terms of trying to get them playoffs. But will we? That is the question. So, yeah, that's what I think for the game. 1-1. Yeah, you said Lawrence to get the goal. For me, I'll go Wells. I'll go Wells to score again, which will make it his 8th goal of the season. So, yeah, other score predictions. 2-0. That would be very nice. Jackie's gone 2-1, Lawrence and Clark to score. Yeah, obviously Clark did score last time out against Reading. 3-1 says Paul. Very emphatic. Love it. Wells, Clark, Palmer. Yeah, Palmer's a good shout, indeed. We can all see another 2-1, can't we? I can't, but if I didn't say 1-1, I would say that, to be fair. Jackie says, I'll go with your lineup, Ty. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. 2-1 says Phil to us. Ben's gone 3-1. So we've actually all gone, bar me, with us to win the game. So, yeah, I know you're having the camera issues, Dad, but any final things you want to say before we go?
No, I think, I'd say we've got to continue that. We've got another important game. I think, I know Doncaster are fighting a bit, but again, they're founding it hard now in this league. And they've got a couple of good items recently. So I think, we should be getting at least a draw there, and we need to be winning this game tomorrow to faint hopes of playoffs. They're above us, so Huddersfield lost to Wigan, Plymouth lost to Rotherham. You know what I mean? So it's not just us that are losing certain games that we shouldn't be losing. from the teams that should be sort of doing battle. But yeah, I think we've got a good record against them. So yeah, hopefully the performance is still there. Don't expect, you know what I mean. We've just got to switch some players around, you know. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's, again, why I put Longway Kings. I actually thought he had a good game against Reading last time. Scored that really good goal as well. Players like that obviously come on briefly at the end the other night. So, yeah, and there is obviously revenge to try and be dished out on Reading. So, obviously, they beat us and we bring it back. You know, we've done well to bring it back. And then, obviously, we, capitulated at the end, annoyingly. But, yeah, we do have a good record at home, like you say. So hopefully that can continue, and hopefully we can continue the good home form. And yeah, even with a win, we're still a point behind them. So yeah, I agree. We definitely need to win the game, and try and get something against Doncaster, really. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But obviously we'll get into that on Monday. And yeah, Ben says here, just joined. I'll watch you on catch up later. No worries, mate. Are you doing a watch along tomorrow, Tyler? Yes, I am doing a watch along. There will be a match reaction from myself as well. And David and Mike will be doing, their reaction outside Kenilworth Road as well. So thanks to them too again for that. And yeah, do check out everything the other day if you haven't already, guys. Did obviously upload all the fan cams. And there was quite a few. So yeah, it was a bit of a late night editing. So do check them out if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. And then, like I say, we got the Hat Show on Monday, where we'll react to this game and preview the Doncaster game. And then the Doncaster game, we'll have a watch long too as well. So, yeah, do try and enjoy it if you are going. Do try and, belt out the atmosphere again and try and spur the boys on to a game that, if we want any chance of playoffs, we've got to try and win, especially with a team around us, like I say. So, yeah, Phil says, I'll be at the game as usual. Big up, mate. Big up for that. But yeah, big up to everyone that has tuned in. And don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, all of that. If you haven't already, do subscribe to the Extra channel. Follow me across all my socials. And yeah, for the watch long tomorrow. See you guys then. And the match reaction. And like I say, David and Mike, they'll have a reaction outside Kenilworth Road as well. So check all the content out if you haven't already and when it drops tomorrow. So yeah, until then, take care and peace. Come on, Luton.